today we're gonna fill out eyebrows. So always make sure that your mat lying down in front of you the same way as the client will lay down. So I'm right-handed. I'm gonna sit on the right side from the client. This is why, like, I imagine this is the face of my client. I'm gonna have her here. I'm gonna put the needle in my machine. I also want to put this wrap on my machine because that will be better for my grip. Of course, I can work without wrap, but it will be better if my machine doesn't slide down, my hand doesn't slide down on the machine. We always shake pigment for a good 5 minutes before we start to work on the clients. So optionally, we can do a line under the bottom line under eyebrow. As a beginner, I don't recommend to do that just because it's difficult to control your depth still, and sometimes you can go too much deeper. There's other ways to secure the mapping. This is why let's proceed to the shading right away. The speed I'm working 6.0, depends on the machine. You can work between 5 and 6, practicing, see how it feels. The length of the needle, I want to have the hand over about 1.5 millimeters, maximum 2. I love this length for myself, but again, you can adjust, depends on your needs, depends on how many hair even the person has. So to start shading, I dip in my needle inside, and it's already filled in with the ink, and I'm starting to shade from the tail. So my strokes not very long but not very short as well, because the machine I use is hybrid, so it's something in the middle, not short, not strong. As you see, I do overlap them. I do go back and forth through the whole tail. What I'm gonna do next, I'm gonna check out how good I am with my depth, because every time we're gonna have different people with different skin type, and we better to start just a shallow and see how it takes. So far my pigment takes, I can see the result already. So that means I don't need to change the depth of my needle. I mean, like, I don't need to go any deeper into the skin because it stays. I'm happy how it's look. Let's talk about the position of your hand. As you see, my pinky is out. Optionally, you can have it like this, but I like it bended more. The main reason why the pinky is out, that it holds the whole wrist. My elbow also gets supported, but my wrist sitting on my pinky. The pinky is necessary to have out because it helps you to change the angle if it's needed, because eyebrow as well as lips, it's actually sits on the, it's either on the, for example, eyebrow sits on the eyebrow bone, which has a curve, so you can easily change the angle with your pinky, because you want to keep your 90 degrees all the time. When I say 90 degrees, that means that 90 degrees compared to the 90 degrees towards your surface. You want to have let me just, so when we're talking about 90 degrees, which is means 90 degrees towards surface, so we want 90 degrees here, 90 degrees here, 90 degrees here on the back, and 90 degrees here on the bottom. If you hold in like this, which is give you 90 degrees from that side and this side, this is not 90 degrees anymore, and this is not 90 degrees anymore. If you hold in like this, again, 90 degrees is lost there, it's like last, like I will say 70 degrees, here is about 120 degrees, 130 degrees, and here we have 90, and on the back we have 90. So this is why it's important to understand that when we're talking about 90 degrees, it's 90 degrees from all the sides. So this is why we want to have pinky out, as it can change our angle. Also, when I'm doing strokes, I go back like about 50% to make sure I do connect them nicely, which is means, let me finish this section. So let's say my section is done here. Okay, so instead of when I build in a new section, I do not want just connect up to here like this. What I want to do, I want to actually go a little bit closer to the end, I mean closer to the beginning or end, my previous section, and start from here, and I also want to catch like half of my previous section. So you're gonna back about 50%. I'm gonna clean this off. Okay, so I started to lose a little bit pressure. As you see, I have a little bit darker tail and lighter that part. So we are going to use a little bit more pressure, and back to the connection of this section, I want to overlap the previous section for like 50%, like this. That will make it more saturated and connection will be like less visible. But this is, if you can do that if you do a nice pendulum, which is means your stroke is have a nice, like let's say I'm show here, see my strokes have nice soft beginning and nice soft end. If you're working with soft strokes like this, which is supposed to be soft like this, it will be easy to build your next segment of your eyebrow. That connection will be invisible. Okay, that's our goal, to make it very invisible. This is why you want to always have very soft beginning and very soft end. It's all because when I doing my stroke, it's like a pendulum, so it's very like it goes this way. It goes this way. It's going. It doesn't. You don't drop your machine all the way down and then do the stroke. You hold it 90 degrees, but when you start to do your stroke, you want to push your machine a little bit ahead and start your stroke from there, and finish very soft. This is how you can build very soft strokes. Fill out the whole eyebrow and then clean off. You don't have to clean it off every small section you've done, but I want to follow up my pressure because this is a new machine I'm still getting used to. This is why when you get in a new machine, you want to always try it, practice on the mat and see how the machine is doing, how it's performing before you go on the on a human. So far I like it. It works good for me. I have some complaints about my work, which I can fix on the second pass. When you see some discoloration in your coloring, let's say what I see right now, this part a little bit darker than this part of the tail, so I will have to add more color when I go next time. So that's important for you to try to see your mistakes, because you can fix yourself on the second pass or third pass, as well as you can definitely fix yourself on the touch-up. But if you're not trying to find your mistakes, that means you won't be able to progress with this technique and do better. So in the end of in the beginning of the eyebrow, we want to have a very soft start to create an ombre look. So that will be very important here to make sure you don't just drop your needle under your 90 degrees and you do your stroke. You have to always go a little bit ahead. That will create that nice pendulum, and this beginning will be very soft. I'm gonna finish my first pass by adding here a little bit more color. I'm doing second pass to saturate my eyebrow. So we're also doing soft beginning again. But if you feel like you're not very comfortable and your strokes doesn't look very soft, you always can do small dotting, quick one in the beginning of the eyebrow, just to create that soft look, but at the same time have a little bit of color there. This is how it looks after the 2 passes. And I can also do a 3rd pass, but I won't go on the head at all. Even right now our head looks slightly lighter than the body of the eyebrow, which I like it, but this time I go up to here to make sure this part is a little bit lighter. So I'm finishing my 3rd pass. So when you're working with your machine, what you want to make sure, you want to see those single dots. If you don't see them, if you, for example, if you go in a little bit too deep like this or too slow, it's gonna happen like some pigment spill. If this is the case, then you need to adjust your hand and make sure you don't go too deep, because you want to see your pixels. That will help you to keep your work clean and nice. Okay, let's clean it off and see what we've got. If your mat has a problem to be cleaned off, if you have a problem the mat to be clean, depends on the quality of mat. Some of them do not get super nice, like easy cleaned. Use some Vaseline for that if just water with soap doesn't work. So far I'm using just the water and soap on this mat. It works pretty good. Okay, so let's see what we've got. We have nice dark tail, we have a nice dark body, we have nice start of the eyebrow. It's soft and light. If you feel like somewhere you have to touch it up, like here, slightly lighter spot to me, I can go back on that specific spot and add a little bit. So on the second eyebrow, I usually do not change the side where I see it. I'm just gonna start from the tail as well and go towards this way. So yeah, just on the client I don't change the side, just working from the same place. Just turn client's head a little bit towards me more, and yeah, this is done.